So, welcome. So, every month we host a free new construction marketing coaching call for anybody that attends. The replay is only available for 48 hours, then it's gone. Today, on this tune up, we're going to share with you the topics that we had on yesterday's free monthly AMA. So, what we'll be covering is the one asset that determines your success or failure with any type of content, the Facebook Marketplace hack, how to take what you're already comfortable doing and leverage that for your marketing for new construction or luxury new construction. And then the one out of the box strategy that will determine the success of your new construction videos and converting renters to buyers. So we did talked about a whole lot. We're just going to cover, it's going to be rapid fire. If you want to see the entire 2 hour replay, which expires on Friday at noon, sign up for the tune up. There'll be a link in there. We'll get you that. If you want it permanently, go over to the Insider. So now we'll get started. Build your dream today. We'll show you the way. Luxury leads come to play. New homes here to stay. Marketing's our game. Elevate your name. Reach for the fame. Never just the same. We're the iconic agent. New construction's our lane. Teaching you the secrets to luxury gains. Digital wave we ride. Strategies we provide. No need to hide. Success is on your side. Close deals like a pro. Watch your profits grow. High standards we show. Feel that golden glow. We're the iconic agent. New construction's our lane. Teaching you the secrets for luxury gains. Digital wave we ride. Strategies we provide. No need to hide. Success is on your side. Close deals like a pro. Watch your profits grow. High standards we show. Feel that golden glow. We're the iconic agent. New construction's our lane. Teaching you the secrets for luxury gains. All right, welcome to the June 24th, 2026 Midweek Tune-Up, the weekly Wednesday quick new construction calibration for new construction real estate mindset, marketing, and momentum. And this is every Wednesday at 1:30. So the way these calls work, this is a one-way conversation. This is the weekly midweek tune-up new construction conversation. We're going to tell you what we're doing, what you can do, and what's working. Simple as that. 30 minutes, we're out. You can go watch the replays, tell you how to get to the replays. Now, the how-to and the interactive multi-way, two-way conversation where you get support and help, etc., that's the New Home Marketing Insider community. We give you what to do, how to do it with support, Q&A, other members contributing and helping you out, and monthly virtual training and resources. We'll tell you how to get that at the end. If you're new here, this is your first episode, you're like, what is this? Well, I am Damon Green, and
I am Nathaniel Crawford.
we're the founders of the Iconic Agent. We've been helping agents attract buyers and sell more new construction since 2017. Over 400 million in additional sales since 2020. That's when we started marketing. And surprising to many, which I don't understand why, we don't gatekeep. We're telling you what we're doing. And actually, yesterday's call landed about 2 hours, and we literally, there was no gatekeeping. Somebody had a challenge. We asked some questions. We gave them some feedback, and we also had other people in the group to give them feedback as well. So if you want to listen to this, if you have to cut out early, or if you're catching the replay and you're like, where can I get more? You can go to theiconicagent.com/tune-up. You can listen and watch these tune-ups. Each episode, you also get a blueprint from what we talked about, as well as a resource that you can always refer back to. Again, this is the what. The how, we'll tell you how to get to the how at the end. So if you have questions, there's two ways to get your questions answered. One, join the free monthly AMA coaching call. It's on the last Tuesdays of the month, 6 p.m. We had it yesterday. This is going to be the recap, quick fire of what we discussed. In 2 hours, we're going to talk about what we discussed in 2 hours in probably about 15 minutes. Or you can join the New Home Insiders at theiconicagent.com/insider, where you can ask whatever questions you need, get whatever you help and support from Nate, myself, and the community, as well as case studies, training resources, coaching, and tools. So today's topic, the June 2026 recap of the 2 hour monthly free AMA coaching and support call. So we're going to walk through the topics that we discussed and give you guys a little encore of what that was. So let me stop sharing here and we'll dive right into it. So one of the interesting facts, actually it's a couple things. So I just got back in the house, which is why I'm snacking too because I haven't eaten all day and y'all want me passing it on camera. I was in North Atlanta meeting with a builder rep, and two interesting things he told me. One of them we knew already. He said a majority of his transactions were done by realtors. So the myth that, well, there's somebody on staff, they don't need me, is totally untrue. If anybody's telling you that, that's totally untrue. They can't survive without us. So that's number one. Number two, for the agents that are like, well, if you're dealing with people with no money, or you're dealing with folks that aren't qualified or they're waiting around, great, help them when you can. But you can't sustain your lifestyle and your life if they don't buy or they can't buy. So struggle with this. Well, how do we sell? Well, the other thing he told me was 80% of the people that are buying there are buying with cash. Cheapest thing there was 400. The most was about 900. They're buying with cash, which means people are buying. You just have to find the people that are buying. And how do you do that? You do that with the proper marketing. And the one thing that was a resounding, it was repeating, I'm sorry, piece of advice that we gave, but you have to know who you're talking to. If you know who you're talking to and you know what they're looking for, then you can find them or they can find you and you can sell them something. Nate, you want to cover that real quick before we dive into the tactics?
Yeah. Well, the overarching theme there, or underlying theme, either way, is that the money is always getting spent, right? The only thing that changes is who is spending the money. And if currently your marketing efforts are not attracting the people who are spending the money, then that's probably because you're talking to the wrong people. You need to put more effort into understanding the buyer profile in today's market and what's going on today, and where your services, your market fits to that buyer profile, and start creating content that speaks directly to them. The money's getting spent, the buyers are there. You just got to make sure that you're talking the right talk to make sure you're attracting.
Yes. So one of the other things we talked about was for the 15th straight month, 60% of builders are offering incentives. These incentives are to help make homes more affordable. It's more than 25%. I don't know the exact number, and this came from the National Association of Home Builders. But it's over 25% of builders have reduced their price. So there are price corrections in many markets across the country. This is also the importance, we discussed the importance of being able to explain and understand the incentives. So case in point, the place I just came from, they're offering $15,000 in incentives, 15 to 40,000. Right now I said it's 15,000. Then they're offering The buyer's agent additional $5,000. They're paying 3%. That's cool. But the incentives are offering a 15,000. That can be used multiple ways. You can buy the rate down. I asked him about, well, how does that work? Buying the rate down. What is it to? He wasn't sure. I had to talk to his lender. Cool. You can drop the price. So if you as an agent, if you can say, okay, here's your 15,000. If you drop the price, here's your payment. If you drop the rate, here's your payment. If you use it for closing costs, here's what you're out of pocket. Like being able to explain that and articulate that, most agents can't do that. So what we've done is for the new home insiders, we've created an incentive calculator that you plug the numbers in, it gives you directional information so you can show and compare. You as the agent can understand, oh, okay, that's what, so they can fall in the price range that they want or the payment that they want. And you can explain it to your people. So that's super important. And the other interesting thing is that new homes are now more affordable than resales in many areas of the country because the resales just can't compete with the incentives. And the reason the incentives are happening is because the builders already built. They already had the plans. They've already developed the land. They have to do something with it. They have to get off of the inventory. And they're willing to take a cut if they need to sell their homes because they're in business to sell homes. Whereas a resale, a listing, oh, I can just pull it and wait till the market crashes or until, rates drop down to 3% or until the apocalypse and put it back on. So new home builders understand that and they have more inventory and they're building the inventory that we're short of. So they're making them where a lot of places, new homes are more affordable than the resales.
Yeah. If you have cash buyers, right? So if you have a scenario kind of like what Damon just alluded to with that development up on the north side, right? So you have a buyer that has $400,000-$500,000. Maybe they had a liquidity event, they sold a property, they pulled it out of 401k, whatever, and they're looking to buy a new construction investment property. One of the most powerful things you can do for them is to explain to them why it may make sense for them to leverage some of these developer incentives instead of buying cash. Because if you have a $500,000 buyer who has $500,000 cash, that $500,000 cash, instead of buying one home, can probably buy two. When you include developer incentives in that, and they'll still be turning a profit, depending on what the rents are in those markets. So being mindful of knowing incentives aren't just a really powerful tool to be able to help your owner occupant clients. Incentives can definitely be a big incentive for cash buyers. And that's something that you can leverage in your content, in the stuff you're putting out there to make sure you're speaking to those cash buyers, those investors, not just those owner occupants or people who might have to stretch a little bit to get into a home.
Yeah, speaking of that, what the gentleman told me was they have condos. These are not condos like we're used to seeing condos downtown, but they're still pretty much condo-esque. They're just 3 stories. But they have 2 and 3 bedroom condos. And what he said was a lot of the investors like the 2 bedroom condos because you can get it for under 400,000 and you can get like $2,500 a month for it where it was. It was like, oh, okay. So they're using those incentives, like Nate just said. So, and then, speaking of the content piece, that is a big play, being able to say, hey, this is what 2,500, this is what 4,500, this is what 35, 55, $6,500 a month gets you in this area. There's a bunch of different formats you can use for like short form content. And one of the things we demoed yesterday, which is going live on the Insider for next month's training, is we built a tool. And Picasso said it, good artists copy, great artists steal. We had a gentleman on that is a beast in Las Vegas, and that's, I've had several conversations. He's one of our clients. He knows another one of our partners we've talked to. And the first piece of advice anybody gives you that's worth their salt as far as, creating videos, don't try and figure it out on your own. We had somebody who wanted to be extra creative. We're like, nope. And they happen to be in they're both in Vegas. So y'all go hang out. Find out what you need to do. Then you don't have to get creative. Go find out what's working already and go do that. So we introduced a quick tool that we've built that we use to find different formats that we're comfortable with So when I say formats, it's like, what are you going to create your video around? What is your theme? Now you can go through TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and click around and look and try to find things. We did it for you. A couple clicks of a button. Within 5 minutes, you've got a script that you can record that's built out the way you want it to be. So we're pretty much doing it for you. So we demoed that. We talked through that. That's over at the Insider. So that was one of the things that came up was, well, how do we get started? They were trying to get super creative. And we were like, well, why are you trying to get creative? Just kind of think outside the box. Well, she was trying to think outside the box. I said, don't do that. Copy, steal. In college and high school, we got in trouble for that. In business, it's called R&D. Now, I don't mean steal, like take credit for somebody else's stuff, but it's go see what's working for other people and then do that and then make it your own. So that was something we discussed. Nate, you got anything to add to that? Because I know we had a lot of conversation around that.
Yeah, well, the secret sauce is is not in the ideas, it's in the execution, right? So if you see somebody doing something that already works, it defeats the purpose for you to go reinvent the wheel, right? You do what you know works, and then you can iterate on that because it's yours, right? No matter, I can give you the recipe, your sauce will never taste like my sauce because you're not me. And in the same way that my sauce will never taste like yours because I'm not you. That same thing holds true in business strategy. Once you know what needs to be done, do that and then adjust accordingly as you need to for your business, requirements and goals.
Yep. And then we also talked about renting versus buying, and we actually created a rental calculator. And Chris, one of the guys that was on, we mentioned rental versus buying calculator. So the calculator is not quite complete yet for the insiders, but we explained the process. And the process is basically this. In this area, in his area, there were two areas somewhere in Florida where the rents were higher than the mortgages. So he wanted to target those folks, but he wanted to have some examples and ways to break it down. So we showed him the rental calculator, which basically just shows it adds inflation to over X number of years. Here's how much money you would spend on rent over this many years, and we go up to like 10 years. Now you're going to spend the same amount on rent if it's $2,500 a month or if it's a mortgage. It's the same amount of money you're spending. But the difference was, and this is where we're building out the calculator, I explained to him, okay, if you're renting, you're going to spend, let's just use flat numbers, $100,000 over 6 years. And then if you're buying, you're going to spend $100,000 over 6 years. It's money lost, but it's not lost on rentals. It's lost on buying. If you take that same 25,000, you pull out your mortgage and, the pity, the whole nine each month, and then you account for a 4.5% 10-year national average appreciation. That's the average across the country. It's about 4.5%. That's the average 10-year appreciation. Now, some areas it's higher. Like I checked stuff where it was like 10%, 12% in Florida and different areas of Florida because, COVID and prices and everything that jacked it up. So we weren't going from a 1 or 2 years. This is a 10-year average is about 4.5%. So if you take that 4.5% to whatever that price point was, you can now show the math like you're going to spend the same $100,000, but over 5 or 7 years, that same $100,000 is spent. When you buy, you're going to have this much equity. So we walk through that concept, and we're building a calculator out to actually show that. There's a couple nuances that need to go in there. So we went and talked through that. We also walked through a Facebook marketplace hack, and that's actually something else. I'm not gonna say hack, but we went over some basic information. So number one, I explained why the miscellaneous category is underlooked by most folks. Number two, Facebook actually marketplace is intent-based marketing if you know how to. Number one, you know who you're talking to. We're always going back to who you're talking to. But number two, if you know how to structure it. So most people, when they market on Facebook, they market features. You don't want to do that. You want to market benefits. Now we go deeper into it in the replay. Again, that's only available till Friday at 12, unless you're an insider, and then you get full access. But one of the things is we are building out another resource that will help you if you have a listing or you have new construction. Like, well, I'm literally taking all the pictures and videos and photos that I just took, and I'm going to create marketplace ads around that. using this strategy. These are my pictures I took in the model center. They have really beautiful model home. I'm taking that, and then that's one of the methods that I'm going to promote. We're going deeper into that on the insider where we talk through that. Let me see what else we did. Oh, Nate, what else did we talk about yesterday? There was the Google My. We talked a little bit about Google My Business.
Well, we talked about the power of Google My Business. We talked about how sometimes thinking outside of the box is actually what other agents think is inside the box, and consistency is that. The vast majority of agents are inconsistent. So to many agents, being consistent seems like a very logical thing. And it seems like that's something everybody knows to do. So it's very in the box to them. When I would humbly suggest to you that being consistent is actually outside the box, because the vast majority of agents are not consistent. The vast majority of agents will not pick a platform and make a concerted, consistent effort to dominate that platform and just put content there consistently. The vast majority of podcasts on every platform you see have less than 10 episodes. Consistency in any shape, form, or fashion will transform your business. And that is the outside of the box thing you can do for your business, is to be consistent. Pick what you're going to do and do it until it works.
Yes, and that was we had that conversation also around the around video. We talked about how to what we're doing. Can't say how to yet, but what we're actively doing with Google Business and showing up in ChatGPT Perplexity because people are no longer just searching; they're using ChatGPT and AI tools like Google and having conversations. Well, how you can leverage that, or a case study we're running to see if we can leverage that with Google. We're not going to give the details here. You got to be an insider, or you got to go watch the replay if you catch it before it goes down. But I will say that Google loves itself. That's the premise behind that whole structure. Google loves themselves. So that's why we did that. That's what we talked about. And that's something that we usually don't even, normally I wouldn't even share unless we're in the same room. But we dropped a little nugget there. Video marketing. We did discuss a little bit about video marketing. We had a top producing agent in Las Vegas, and then another Vegas. They happen to be at the same brokerage. I didn't realize that. Um, she was the one that was talking about thinking outside the box and the consistency. That's where we had the conversation around don't try to create something new. She had a really cool idea, but the really cool idea required learning how to do something and figuring some things out. And we were like, just no, just do, go steal somebody else's stuff, do what somebody else is doing and make it your own. And you're in the same office with this guy that's a top producer and he kills it on YouTube. So why don't y'all just sit down? They had a caravan today. So they decided they're going to go on a caravan together and have conversations. I'm like, that's what these calls are for. It's a community, it's linking up, it's connection, and it's helping folks get results. Again, we're not gatekeeping. So we talked about that software. Um, and this is something that Nate's had brought up several times. So we had an agent that was had her license for a couple of years, and she was like trying to get started, and she's done the the normal thing, referrals, and that's how you got business. But then referrals kind of shifted and changed, and she wanted to break into new construction. So she was talking. We asked about video. We kind of got a little feel for what she was doing, and as she's talking, I'm like, well, what do you like to do? And I'll let Nate dive into this deeper, but one of the things that she likes, she has a lot of referrals. So when she said referrals, I'm like, if you have a lot of referrals, that means people like you. If people like you, she gets on camera, she's like, she gets on video, she's like, I don't know, I'm not comfortable with it. She's done something, but another mentor, somebody was telling her she needs to be on camera, but you could sense the resistance even online. Like seeing her, you're sensing the resistance. So I'm like, so you get a lot of referrals? So yeah. Okay, so why don't you sit down? Here's an idea. Sit down with your either agents or sit down with your past clients and sit down and interview them about their experience with you. Put that out there. People love that because you seem like a real person. That's your personality. You like talking to people, you like having conversations. All you got to do is just ignore the camera. You don't have to get in front of the camera and be like, sound like Porky Pig. You just sit down like, hey, girl, This is your longtime friend, longtime client, and you guys can laugh and joke and record that, and that makes it easier. But one of the things that has Nate has said, and we've had this conversation internally, which actually there's where these tune-ups came from. But number one, doing what you're comfortable with, but doing what you're going to do already. So Nate, you want to cover that a little more?
Yeah, yeah. One of the most undervalued things I think when it comes to us as real estate agents is we find things very mundane that other people think are really, really cool. Uh, whether those are the type of clients we work with or the type of properties we sell or just the real estate in general. So being able to just record conversations that you're having anyway can be quite the marketing hack, because that just gives you stuff, right? We're doing this right now. Later today, I got a podcast I'm going to do, and I'm literally going to be sitting in a room with a couple other agents doing the same thing we're doing right now, right? Talking shop, talking about the business, talking about what's working, what's not working, what we're showing, clients we're working with, stories, stuff like that. So as an agent, one of the lowest hanging fruits you can target is, well, what do you do already? And there's probably part of that process that if you just recorded yourself doing it, you could probably get some consistent content out of that.
Awesome. And then, because we're coming on the top of the hour, the last thing we talked about, which everything comes back to this, we talked about your ideal client persona or your ideal client avatar, how everything comes back to that. And one of the other things, oh, I forgot because there was a Chris was on again, and he had asked about marketplace, so we had the marketplace conversation. But then he had mentioned something, and it clicked, which is why I made this piece of advice. He said, "Oh yeah, I was running some Facebook ads, and I have like 5 or 6 different Facebook ads running, so I'll do 5 or 6 different ads running on marketplace." And I was like, "Hold up, if you're already running Facebook ads, I usually do it inverse. Take the Facebook ads that are working and test those on Marketplace. Tweak them a little bit, but test those on Marketplace first because they're already working on the same platform. Don't go recreating the wheel. Make what's already good better. The way that I typically go about it is I'll run the Marketplace ad, and when I find one that really works, then I'll go pay for it. But either way, take what's already working, kind of what we just talked about. Take what's already working and go do it. And we go deeper into it on the replay for the June 2026 AMA in the Insider. But so we talked about stories. There is we've mentioned on episode like 4 of this tune-up, um, stories sell, facts tell. Well, it was a real estate article. It was by one of the more popular publications that talked about how agents that have listings that have story related listings versus just the boring feature description sell 30% more. Now, we've been saying that because if you look at it, what is everybody, almost everybody does? What is something that almost everybody does? They go to the movies, they have their favorite show or favorite shows or favorite movies. Those are all stories. They'll sit there on the edge of their seat. Well, when you take that same process, there's fewer people that are logical than emotional. So you have to be able to hit that emotional, a little bit of logic. Well, stories covers that. And the way you tell better stories, even on your Facebook ads, and that's really good on your Facebook ads. And also, like say marketplace ads, stories can be told better when you know who you're talking to so that you can tell them a story or put them into the story that makes sense for them. So we walk through that, and then in the insider we have a bunch of stories in there. And then one thing, oh, before we go, this is the last thing, Nate. Mention just real quick. We covered LinkedIn a little bit, but he went deeper in there. But the $1 billion worth of conversations, or was it hundreds of millions of dollars worth of conversations you had from LinkedIn that kind of give a gloss over that real quick. How you were able to get in
Yeah.
touch with people that like, how did you, who? You spoke to who on Zoom?
Yeah.
How
Well,
did you do
reaching
that?
out to when you are trying to do reach outs to people on LinkedIn, one of the most powerful things you can do, one, is to go through all the people you're connected with already. Right. What I've found is that there are a lot of people who I met, literally almost 10 years ago in some cases. And at the time that I met them, they were in a very different position than they are now, and we had lost touch. However, we're still connected on LinkedIn. So reaching out to them, when you reach out to those people, whether they're people you're directly connected to or people that are sort of 1 degree away from you, one of the hacks there, or one of the immediate reinforcements of social proof, is the people that you have in common. I reach out to this person doesn't know me, but they know Damon. They see that me and Damon are connected, and they're like, oh, well, if he knows Damon, he must be, worth the conversation. So you have to be mindful, of that stuff, and that can really be transformative for your business.
All right, cool. So we're at the top of the hour. We had the rapid fire. We spent 2 hours yesterday really diving into multiple people's challenges, sharing. We sat back and listened to what other people were doing. It was winning. But you can catch that over at the Insider. If you have questions around this content, join the New Home Marketing Insiders. We'll give you the exact strategy, training, and resources, and it's exclusive to them. So if you want a deeper breakdown of each of the things that we spoke about today, join the New Home Marketing Insider community. You'll get instant access to this 2-hour AMA, all of the other ones from the past year, documentation and SOPs to actually take action on. So we'll give you, based on what we talked about, go do this step by step. Go ahead over to theiconic.com/insider or scan this QR code, and you'll get immediate access, and you can start rocking and rolling with that and listen to this is the June 2026 replay. You can get access to this entire replay so you can sit down and really dive into, and then join the next one so that we can work on your business and help you with your business as well. All right, Nate, you want to take us out with the benediction, sir?
Well, thank you for coming out. God bless y'all. Go get the money.
Digital wave we ride, strategies we provide. No need to hide, success is on your side. Close deals like a pro, watch your profits grow.